Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and had a really great week, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mrs. Smith, I'm a Christian, and I usually walk about and talk about all sorts of things from a Christian point of view. But today I'm not walking as I still have very bad sciatica, so instead my lovely husband is pushing me around a park, and we've come to Dane Park, which is actually in Margate. I know Margate is a seaside town, but this lovely park is here as well. So you will get a few lovely views while I ramble on. Please do stay with me until the end of the video today, though. It is really important that you do. Now, I've titled my video, "Why Won't God Heal Me Now?" Now, because I've had really bad sciatica for a few months, I've had lots of my Christian friends praying for me that God will heal me, right? Take the pain away, make everything better. But God hasn't. In fact, if anything, it has gradually got worse. You know, when we're hurting and in pain, struggling with life and praying for God to intervene and He doesn't, and life just keeps hitting us like a train, it can start to feel like God's only concern is that we believe in Him, and then He just lets us get on with it. And honestly, the Christian Bible is full of people asking similar questions like the title of my video. And others like them, you know, like, why do the wicked prosper? Why are you silent, God? How long do I have to suffer, Lord? Why have you forsaken me? Because yes, even Jesus asked that question. Even Jesus cried out in agony on the cross. The Bible never pretends that suffering will be small for people who believe in God, though. The Christian Bible never says that a Christian will be free from pain and hurt. We still have to live in this world, right? And sometimes this world sucks. And whilst Jesus did heal people, He didn't heal everyone. But as a Christian, I have to believe that God does care about what we go through here on earth, because Jesus did heal people. Jesus did feed the hungry. God and Jesus wept over death. God commands His people to care for the sick, for the lonely, for the hungry, for the poor, for the marginalised, the grieving, the oppressed. So surely God does care. So why doesn't He heal me and others like me right now? This is a hard question to answer, right? Because although I have to believe that God cares, I also know that God does not override human freedom. God does not tend to override natural processes and disasters either. God does not usually override how our bodies work, biology, science, and God clearly does not heal suffering instantly. And that can create a big, brutal gap between God caring and God doing something about it. And that gap is where a lot of faith struggles live. And we as Christians don't always help matters either. We can give cliched answers to people who are going through a rough time, you know. Hearing things like, God has a plan for you, can sound a bit hollow when your actual experience is silence from God. But I was thinking that if God only cared about us believing in Him in a shallow sense, then the Christian Bible will probably be discouraging these types of questions like, why isn't God doing something? Yet instead the Bible contains entire books of protest and grief and people crying out to God for help and getting silence back a lot of the time. You only have to look at books in the Bible like Job or the book of Psalms to see how people even then would be shouting at God to intervene. Faith in the Christian Bible often looks less like cheerful certainty and more like stubborn wrestling. And actually arguing with God, shouting at Him when we're angry and upset and frustrated, I feel like it's far more honest to be like that than pretending that everything is fine. So does that mean then that we're supposed to just keep believing in God even if He's not answering us or not intervening or not healing us or not helping us when we're in a lot of pain or when we're really suffering in some way? Honestly, that's one of the hardest parts of Christianity, because the answer many Christians arrive at is yes. Faith often means trusting God through the suffering, not only if he rescues us from it. But that then raises the completely fair response, why should I trust someone who doesn't seem to help me when I desperately need it the most? And I guess that's the real question underneath all of this. Christianity doesn't teach that if we believe hard enough, life won't hurt. In fact, Jesus himself basically promises the opposite at times. People will suffer, people will grieve, people will feel abandoned, people will have to carry great big burdens, but that God will be with people in their pain, even when the circumstances don't change immediately. Now, I know that can sound rubbish. When your body hurts and your prayers feel unanswered, or life feels really heavy, and Christians struggle with this constantly. Some Christians even lose faith over it, right? Some keep their faith, but they have battle scars. And for some, it's like a roller coaster ride of emotions, because suffering is not okay. In the Bible, faith isn't portrayed as pretending that suffering is okay. As I said, the Bible is full of people shouting things at God like, where are you? And why won't you answer me? But the fact that those stories are left in the Bible, for me, I find that helpful, because it means that it's not a failing to ask those questions. It means that doubt and anguish are natural and expected by God. And it's interesting that those people in the Bible were still communicating with God even through all of their sufferings. They were still choosing not to let go of God completely, even though they didn't understand why he wasn't answering them or healing them or helping them. It doesn't matter how strong you think your faith is. Most Christians experience seasons where God feels silent. But is he? What I want to say to you today is that if you're in that position right now, if you've been asking God for help for something and you're struggling and God feels silent, first of all, you don't need to force yourself into some kind of fake certainty or pretend you're okay with things when you're not, or keep smiling and carry on. A far more honest and healthy way to be is to keep talking to God, even if you're angry at him, right? To keep asking him those big questions, to be real and to be passionate and determined about getting those answers from God, and not to give up. And the second thing I want to say to you today is, and this is why I wanted you to stay with me until the very end of the video, is that a sentence that has been going over and over in my mind during the last few weeks is this: presence is harder to notice than miracles, especially when you need relief, right? Presence is harder to notice than miracles. Is God really silent? Is God really not helping? Is God really not answering? How many times during our struggles might we have thought to ourselves, I managed that far better than I thought I would? Is God really being silent, or is he helping us through the pain? Personally, I am trying not to measure God by whether my pain disappears immediately. Instead, I'm looking for smaller signs that he is with me. Signs of grace, signs of comfort, signs of unexpected strength or unexpected endurance, signs of peace when I really don't feel peaceful. It is right to still keep asking for that healing, for that help, because the fact that Jesus asked for his suffering to pass from him means that us asking God for his help is not weak faith. But isn't it true that everyone would believe in God if they witnessed dramatic miracles all the time? They wouldn't need faith, would they? Real faith, that takes something more. That takes something a lot deeper. So if you take nothing else from this video today, please remember this sentence: presence is harder to notice than miracles. Thank you so much for joining me again today, and if you're able to do so, please hit that like and subscribe button for me, and please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of my opinions, my videos. Let me know your opinions. I'd be really interested to find out what your opinions are on this subject. And if you're also able to, please do hit that like and subscribe button for me. As I said, it really does help me out. We're just over 100 subscribers now. It's taken me over a year to get that, but I really do appreciate each and every one of you. But I would really like to grow our community a bit more. And I will see you again soon, walking or wheeling. But until then, God bless you all. Bye.